Yo, we
It has
have returned.
it has been a minute. A&E family, what is good?
Maybe close to a month. Almost, just about. We talked about the first round of the playoffs. Playoffs is about a month and some change.
Yep. And we basically the last time we spoke, the Miami Heat and the Lakers were still relevant in the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we were talking about, I think,
How impressed we were with Jimmy Butler's playoff engine.
ooh, yeah. And we forgot engines run on gas, and gas is a finite resource.
Yup. And if Jimmy isn't going to be consistent, that team is going to be clearly very awful.
Yes.
Slash, also, congrats to, the fucking Nuggets. Well done on their part.
Well, before we do that, let's just we were going for a while, like we were just.
Yeah, basically, that's our time frame reference.
Let's just go ahead and go over a little bit of the timeline of the things that we have missed. I'm gonna just spew them all out. We'll talk about some of these things, these things we won't talk about. Undisputed is coming to an end, came to an end. Josh Allen over Jalen Hurts on the Madden cover. John Morant had a toy gun with golf and PGA merge. Denver wins a championship. Jokic takes his job. Zion in his relationships. Lionel Messi to Inter Milan. Ja gets suspension. Bradley Beal to the Phoenix Suns.
Mhm. Just, to start with. Again, we will talk about what we can get to, but yeah, there's been a lot, even some college stuff. Their College World Series is on right now.
What?
Looks like Wake Forest just tied that up, and it's now a 1-1 series.
Nice. All that stuff, and that wasn't even everything. I was like, we can't talk about all this.
Yeah, that'd be so difficult. You guys will get sick of it, so we have to spread this out a little bit.
We could just freehand it, like free for all. Which one do you want to talk about first? Do you want to just talk about the NBA Finals?
Yeah, we might as well just go ahead and knock that out right away, since we kind of use that as our time frame.
Yeah, the lifting point.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, like I said, last time we talked, it was Denver versus the
The
Lakers.
Lakers.
I think it was like 2-1 Denver.
Yup.
And I was thinking maybe if Anthony Davis can do something, he might be able to come back. But oh, that was also off the heel of LeBron's 40 point loss.
Yep.
But man, Jimmy Butler, first couple games in the finals. Not
Was not
actually no games in the finals. He was not being the Jimmy Butler we know. He wasn't being Himmy Butler. He wasn't being Michael Jordan, his son, like he was supposed to.
right. Like, I mean, obviously, I think a lot of it is he just got tired. He put all he had into the game against or the series against the Knicks, and I don't know, like all of a sudden it's just like he couldn't maintain that type of like overall playability. And I can't really like you blame him in the sense that you're like, come on, man, like this is like the time where we need you to show up like this. But at the same time, it took Bam a long time to get any form of like shooting rhythm or even making himself a main cog of this Miami team during that whole stretch. Also, Tyler Hero getting hurt, so losing one of your better overall 3-point shooters, kind of like the guy you would go to in a lot of those situations. And even when he came back, it wasn't. No, it was like Tyler Hero is also just like not gonna play as well because he didn't have that playing time, and he's also going up against a Denver Nuggets team that just was. they're just a weirdly perfect team that will never be able to be formed again, I think.
Yeah, that's why they were smart in not trying to play him, because he basically had his knuckles broken off.
Yep.
Like that was a crazy injury, and he needed to rehab because they weren't going to beat them anyway. They were so overwhelming. They lost once to the Heat, they lost once to the Lakers, and they lost once to the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
Or did they lose twice to the Phoenix Suns? I think they only lost once.
Uh,
Either
I
way,
think that, yeah, I don't.
a handful of losses. They were on a mission. This thing was 7 years in the making.
Mhm.
And, Jokic deserved it, whether he wanted it or not.
I love his demeanor.
Said, hey, we all hate our job, right? It's like he broke everyone's brain in that room watching the TV. They were like, wait, no, we hate our jobs. You're in the NBA. You love your job. No, nope. He loves horses. You know
Yeah,
who loves this? You know who loves his job? His brothers. Did you see his brothers? They
dude,
were
they were going
they
nuts.
were crying. That's the only time he started crying was when they were crying. But like they are NBA fans. They are basketball heads, and it's
And
crazy.
also just to see a brother do that,
Yeah, but
especially when he's become close so many times and like it finally happened.
yeah,
Also, the year he didn't win a regular season MVP, but obviously still win the Finals MVP. Like, hey man, I probably would have shed some tears too.
these guys are
But
so
also, I probably would have had some restraint on me still. Like, I still would have been probably been like not gonna like pick dude up and like bounce around with him.
these guys are such NBA fans and love their brother so much. Like this was as much as their moment.
Oh yeah,
We're happy for them. And like I said, they love the game. Like they're so big. They picked giant ass Nikolai Jokic up and just
right,
jumped around with him. Like that's scary. He's baby. He's not little brother. He's baby brother.
right,
He's baby brother.
baby brother.
Years older than him or something like that. Good
But
for
yeah,
him. He
yeah,
can wait to get out of America. He,
he's like, I want to go home.
you know, I, it was nice. Thank you. Thanks for this trophy. Thank you guys. It's been nice. I'll see you guys next year.
Yeah, it was also really funny just watching him at that parade too. He's like, I really wanted to leave the parade, but now I kind of don't because he was getting drunk. Did
They,
you see the sky cam pictures of Denver?
yeah,
I was so many people.
they were all living it up. I mean, their first championship in the history of the organization. They
Right.
boosted up. Now, will they be there next year?
Mm, I'm gonna say maybe not. Not for like any real reason, but that like as we've seen multiple times, unless you're the Warriors. Speaking of the Warriors, they have their own shit going on. Um,
They
we'll
do.
talk about that. But yeah, like again, they are like a perfectly formed team for like they are weirdly perfect team, but that isn't going to always work because I mean, who knows what this next season is going to look like, especially with Victor Wembanyama coming in at like 7'2", been playing basketball his entire life. Like very much like in that Europe league or anyone that's played in the European league, they kind of talked about it in Cowherd, where they're like, these guys were playing with grown men when they were 15 years old,
Yeah.
representing a country and then representing their own European teams. While all of the guys in the United States, they are all playing with each other through AAU versus playing with these grown ass adults.
They're professionals at a very young age,
Yep.
and it pays off because a lot of people they assume, these smaller guys are, or not even just the smaller guys, they just believe nobody's going to be ready for the strength of the NBA. Not,
Hmm.
not realizing that some of these guys have been playing since they were like 15 professionally, and that pays off. Like Luka, that's why he dominates. He
Right.
at a young age for a very long time, and he's used to these bigger people, these stronger men. Physicality.
Yeah, it's like yeah, that difference. I think that's what makes a lot of difference for just the over like how that made a huge difference for the Nuggets. Like Jokic is just a very like unshakable person. Like it's just very impressive. But yeah, like I was saying, I don't picture them as like that type of Warriors team or the Heat when it was Dwayne and LeBron that they have that type of like scenario. Like I don't know if their team is set up like that where they can make that same type of run. But again, we'll see what happens because a lot of crazy things have happened. Um, like Bradley Beal getting picked up by the Suns.
Exactly.
Like that changes like how everything's gonna look.
Yeah. Now I want to ask you: is that a super team in your opinion?
The Nuggets or the Suns.
The Suns will probably go edition.
I wouldn't say a super team. If they got Bradley Beal before COVID, I would say that would be closer to a super team, along with getting Kevin Durant at that same time period. Just because they're still great athletes. Devin Booker alone is just it's hard to like find somebody besides like a Curry or LeBron that can really like make you think that this person is like that one step away from getting into the finals and winning everything. Um, but yeah, like if you had Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant those few years ago, I think that would be 100% a super team because those guys back then were still shooting more like lights out, and Durant was relatively healthier at that time too. With everything he's gone through, like physicality wise, and that also has its own mental wear and tear. Um, I think that it's hard for him to like be at that consistent level sometimes. I feel like, and with Bradley Beal, I 100% think it was a steal. Like I think he's a good fit for that team, especially with them offloading Chris Paul. Like he makes up in the shooting aspect, and he also helps make up for the age aspect too, where he's not necessarily having to sit out and rest. And Bradley Beal's only ever really been had like one significant injury in his career, I think. So his overall like flexibility as a player or his like the length of time he can go, like his endurance, is at a higher keel that they very much need.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because I totally agree. Um, I don't see a super team when I look at that team. Like you said, you got to look at injuries. You know, Bradley Beal doesn't have a clean bill of health. He doesn't play, majority of the games throughout the year. He played 53 games last year, I believe it was. And now you got Devin Booker, who's now, sometimes in and out with an injury here and there himself. And then KD, of course, we know his injury history
Mm-hmm.
and how fragile his situation can be. He came back. I'm convinced they didn't do as good because of depth, obviously, and because they were a new team. They played what 14 games together before the playoffs.
Right. And also, clearly there was, I guess, not enough faith in the coaching, in the head coaching. So that situation too, where he's now the Pistons' new head coach, I think, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So, like, obviously there was a lot going against them in that sense.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, once they like get gelled together, I mean, yeah, they're gonna make the Western Conference very competitive again. But yeah, I wouldn't say super team. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing about that is Bradley Beal made the All Star team 3 times out of his 10-year career,
But he also had John Wall working with him.
and and they could not get out of the second round, which
Exactly.
which speaks to both of them, and that's like maybe at John Wall's peak, maybe close to Bradley Beal's peak, which maybe came a little bit later. I'm not sure.
I mean, it definitely came later after John Wall left the team because he became like the star of that Wizards team for a bit.
Yeah, maybe he was in his peak already at that
Yeah.
time. And that's my point right there. You you got to make it out of the second round at least once with those two guys.
Right.
I mean, of course, you know they that the team had their own problems and John Wall's injury and then and moving around and whatnot. But Bradley
Hmm.
Beal, I would not quite consider him a
Yeah.
a,
No.
a like an
If
all
they
like a proven all star. He can't. He has the capability of being an all star, and we're not sure if he still has that capability.
right. If they had gotten Dame, 100% super team, like that would have been 100% guaranteed playoff final team in the West at all times.
Yeah,
But again, they'll be good, but I'm not confident that they're gonna
and
blow everybody away necessarily.
yeah, no, because and then it comes down to depth. They're missing their shots at the end of these games and losing close games because they don't have any on their legs because they've
Yep.
been playing the whole damn game. And then I know everybody says that they got them for nothing, but they still gave away something.
Yeah.
Gave away Landry Shamet and possible bodies that could, you know, be helped or be put on the floor to help out with the load. So,
Right.
I mean,
It. Yeah. They just need to. It. They basically just got. Okay, like I think the best comparison I could really even say is Bradley Beal is a little bit of a better Austin Reeves. Like it feels like very much just that role player to me at this point. Like
yeah,
that versatility he used to have it isn't the same, and like you said, it's because of like the depth because of injuries. He just can't make those types of consistent going to the rim and then being able to do a drop back or even make like a consistent back to back 3 point shot sometimes. Yeah, good on them. Maybe they'll make it work, but yeah.
and let's be fair. A lot of people were injured
To be fair,
in the Western Conference.
true.
People are only going to be better.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see how that pans out for them.
Mhm.
I think they're going to go to the playoffs, win around, and we'll go from there. See what their opponents.
Yep. And then they'll still have to probably go against the Warriors, who freed up what $27.5 million because they Draymond decided not to pick up his contract.
Yep, yep. And I think that was a mistake on Draymond.
Yeah.
And I think people are going to have to let go of this illusion of they get there because of Draymond.
Yeah.
They wouldn't get
Um
there without Draymond because
mhm.
I wouldn't agree with that. I just don't. Yes, you need to replace Draymond, and it would be very hard to replace him, but you can replace what we just saw.
Mhm.
He had a couple breakout games that were, he had won them game 3, I believe it was, and then he had another one that was resulted in a loss. So it was another 20-point game, I believe. But You can find that. You can find someone that can play better defense without being in risk of fouls as much.
Right,
You have to waste so
right, and
many possessions on his aggression sometimes at this point. And I'm a Draymond fan. Was a
mm,
Draymond fan. I'm a Warrior. I like watching the Warriors. I'm a big Steph
mm.
Curry fan. So when the Sixers aren't in it, I'm rooting for the Warriors. Usually.
right. Yeah, I mean, I think the way things have been like even going with the Bucks, a lot of people have that fear that Giannis will go to the Warriors. Now that would be a super team. Is it?
Sound right when I hear
It probably won't happen, and if it does happen, it will probably happen like further down the line when
I
the
mean
Warriors are. Yeah,
even further down the line. It just doesn't sound right, Giannis. It just doesn't really do it for me. I can't see him in that kind of blue.
right.
I don't know. Some people I can't picture the certain jersey going.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see what happens.
I mean, like we said, that Western Conference is always shaky, and another team in the Western Conference that's also shaky right now is the Grizzlies, the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, yeah, the weird East Coast team that's part of the West Coast.
And they're only shaky because their leader is in. He's gotten his suspension. John Morant has got,
25 games.
and it is 25 games. Um, what do you think? Fair? Unfair? Okay.
Like I've been kind of thinking about it more. Um, so it's one of those situations where it's hard to find something to even compare this to in the NBA besides when Gilbert Arenas basically did the same thing, where he brought a gun into the Wizards locker room and put it in a different player's locker as like a joke, and it didn't go over well. But I think he was only suspended for like maybe 7 games, something like that. Um, and
Hey,
at this,
hold on. Let's restart this real quick and jump right back on this topic.
dope.
We'll be back.